There's nothing like the excitement of New York City, 24-hour entertainment and big-time boxing. Ruslan Provodnikov, who goes against Chris Algieri, comes off a win which gave him a championship. And he would like to delight his fans yet again against the local guy, Chris Algieri from Huntington, New York, who has a fanatical following here. College education, studying healthcare. Maybe he'll take care of all of us one day. But right now, he wants to take care of business against Provodnikov. Provodnikov and Algieri is our main event. We are in New York City. The train's coming into Brooklyn, which is the borough. The WBO junior welterweight title is up next, and it promises to be a real good one. Two guys with big followings here. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape and see how they match up. They're both 30 years old. Very little separates them in terms of height. A reach advantage for Algieri. Let us see if he can utilize that in this contest here tonight. Maybe the biggest number there might be the intangible, the experience of Provodnikov. So Algieri comes in. He's got that Nets hat. The Nets are the NBA, the basketball tenants in this building. So boxing and basketball have built this Barclay Center reputation starting in 2012. Algieri is 19-0 with 8 knockouts. No amateur career, quite different than Provodnikov. He was 20-0 as a kickboxer. He's a pro since 2008. How did he get here? He scored a convincing victory over Emmanuel Taylor back in February, and that vaulted him into the ranking. Joe DeGuardia and Star Boxing then brought him to this level. So there is the pride of Huntington, New York. He did part 1 by beating Taylor, and his promotional company did the rest in getting him into this fight. He is the number 13 contender for Provodnikov's title. What do you think of him from what you've seen of him and what you've heard?
Well, I know Chris. Heck of a nice guy. One of the nicest guys you'll meet. Very, very intelligent outside the ring. He's a nice, solid young boxer. I just don't think he has the firepower and the discipline to keep Provodnikov off of him. I think he's going to try to box. And once Provodnikov brings the heat and close the distance and cut that ring in half, he's going to sit and try to fight with Provodnikov, and I think that is going to spell disaster for him.
Graduate of Stony Brook in 2007 with healthcare management, and going for his master's in that area. Really intelligent guy. A lot going on for him in that area. He's fighting Ruslan Provodnikov, who has got Freddie Roach near his side, so that tells you all you need to know about being in great company. Freddie Roach, a 6-time Boxing Writers Association Trainer of the Year, has had guys like Virgil Hill, Mike Tyson, Guillermo Rigondeaux. Now he's got Provodnikov, native of Russia, who, in contrast to Algieri, was 130-20 as an amateur. Big Russian population in this area.
Brooklyn, Brighton Beach, which is about 15-minute drive from here. And listen to the music they play. He fights like he has an eye of the tiger.
Provodnikov comes off that win over Mike Alvarado. Loss Tough one. And Timothy Bradley was the
Which a lot of
fight
people
of the
thought
year.
Yes, yes. That was a heck of a fight.
Disputed, of course.
Right, he had Bradley out on his feet a couple of times. He went to Mike Alvarado's hometown and beat him.
So two opposites in terms of styles, two opposites in terms of how they got here. Provodnikov will be the favorite, and here's the announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen from Barclay Center, Brooklyn, New York, USA, this is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Light Welterweight Championship of the World. Presented by Art Polulo's Banner Promotions and Top Rank Incorporated in association with Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. Sponsored by Tecate con Carácter and Fram. Oil change done right, along with Cordecia Vodka. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairperson Melvina Lathan, Executive Director David Berlin, and Director of Boxing Eric Bentley. The World Boxing Organization President Francisco Paco Barcarcel, Supervisor Jose R. Izquierdo El Segundo. At ringside, the three judges scoring will be Max DeLuca, Tom Schreck, and Don Trella. And in charge of the action at the bell, referee Harvey Dock. And now, the officials are ready, the fighters are ready. So for the thousands in attendance here at Barclay Center, Brooklyn, New York, and the millions watching around the world on HBO. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner with trainer Tim Lane, wearing blue and weighing in officially at 140 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 19 fights, 19 victories, including 8 knockouts. He's the pride of Huntington, New York, USA. The challenger, the undefeated fighting collegian, Chris across the ring, fighting out of the red corner with his trainer Freddie Roach, wearing black with gold, official weight 153 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 23 victories, including 16 knockouts with 2 defeats. From Bielsovo, Katimansi, Russia, the reigning defending WBO light welterweight champion of the world, Dami Gospoda. Представляет champion, the Siberian Rocky, Ruslan Provodnikov.
Guys, we went over the instructions earlier. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck.
All right, the Siberian Rocky against the Fighting Collegian. You cannot get more opposite than that. There is Algieri, who's trying to ride the momentum of that very impressive last victory over Emmanuel Taylor. And there's Provodnikov in his biggest showcase to date in a division that has guys like Danny Garcia, Jesse Vargas, Lamont Peterson, Floyd Mayweather, Sean Porter. It's a very strong 140-pound class.
Adrian Broner is now campaigning at 140.
It is loaded with talent. So here's Provodnikov trying to get inside Algieri. Work the body hard.
And again, Chris has to really stay disciplined and just box. Work a consistent jab. A jab that is going to become annoying to Provodnikov.
Now, does he have to try and establish something first inside so that he can stay outside, or does he stay outside the whole way?
Stay outside. That's the discipline. You have to stay outside. You know Provodnikov is going to come and bring it, so no need for you to try to stand inside. When you stand inside against an aggressive fighter, you're telling him, stop coming forward. Provodnikov is not going to stop coming forward, so you're wasting your time trying to stand inside and get respect from him. Right now, Chris is boxing. I figure the first 3 rounds he'll be able to control the pace with his boxing. Rounds 4 and 5 is where I think it gets dicey for him.
Here comes Provodnikov on the inside. Good right hand by Provodnikov, big left hook. Will we see rounds 4 and 5?
3, 4, 5, 6.
A titanic hook
Solid left
from
hook.
Provodnikov.
And now he's going to come a little stronger than what he was, if that means anything, because he's already coming on strong.
So it is already dicey for Algieri. And that's knockdown number 2.
4,
And talking to Freddie Roach
6,
last week at the Cotto
7,
fight,
8. You all
he
right?
says,
You okay?
I want a knockout. I'm going to send him out for the attack.
And so far he's getting his wish. 2 knockdowns here. Here comes Provodnikov looking to line up a big shot, and he put him down the second time with less than his best. So even though the 3 knockdown rule not in effect, it will be interesting to see if they would allow Algieri to continue if he did go down a 3rd time.
And Algieri needs to throw a stiff jab. He's not throwing a stiff jab. He's just putting it out there. Stiff jab. Let Provodnikov run into it.
Well, 3 minutes may have felt like 3 years.
And look at the right eye of Chris Algieri.
That's the left hook that did it, that first big one.
That guy. You got the lead eye, baby. You got the lead eye. Don't worry about that. You gonna give me the bucket? That's good bucket? Deep breath, Chris. Deep breath. I know. No, you good, baby. Come on, deep breath. Deep breath. Don't spin this. Spin this. Okay. Good. Deep breath. Deep breath. Okay. Chris, I need you to change your movement a little bit. Let's go to the right a little bit. Okay. Listen.
Well, Chris Algieri tried the left hook. Tried to hook with a hooker. His was a little wider. Provodnikov's was much shorter. And what happened? The result, the shorter, compact punch got there quicker. This is the second knockdown. Algieri's still a little dazed. Didn't really get hit, but he went down.
The left uppercut got in there, and that was enough to do it. So here we are into round 2. Dave Bontempo and Brian Adams with you here at the Barclay Center in Brooklyn, New York, where Ruslan Provodnikov had a thunderous opening to this championship fight. 2 knockdowns against Chris Algieri in the opening round, and Algieri has to be shell-shocked.
In order for Algieri to stay in this fight, or to get into this fight, stiff jabs. That jab he's throwing out is just a pouring jab. He's not really throwing a stiff jab.
Tries to open up a little bit here, but he's got to bring that jab back when he fires it. He's leaving it out there.
Right, he has to, you know Provodnikov is going to come. Try to stop him just a little by throwing a stiff jab. Let him walk into a stiff jab.
Good power shots to the body by Provodnikov as well. He's got him lined up here against the ropes.
And then being against the ropes certainly is not going to help him.
Algieri trying to open it up in the power end of it. Surprising in that the idea for him would be to stay outside, but he's lowering the shoulder, trying to throw hooks. He tried to throw 2 more hooks there.
He's doing well in terms of scoring, but he's still giving too much ground to Provodnikov.
Double hook here by Provodnikov. One was low, one got in. Good right hand by Provodnikov.
It's only low if you get one for it.
Double hook by Algieri.
And then it looks like Provodnikov is just looking for that perfect left hook again, as opposed to trying to set it up. Because he hasn't really done much this round.
I guess that's what happens though when you throw a classic textbook hook the round before and almost knock your guy out with it.
Right.
It's only human nature to want to go back to that same shot. Algieri's fans are back with him. And they erupt as he lands a double jab. And Provodnikov smiles in acknowledgement.
And then lands a thumb with his left hook. But good round for Chris Algieri.
Джебом просто показывает, попробуй джеб быстрее, там не попадание. После хорошего джеба боковой сработает.
No reason to pick your head up, baby. Aim for that neck. Aim at the neck.
How's your eye? Pain in the face?
Second jab! Second jab!
And there's Chris Algieri's brother Michael, very pensive. He had to walk away from the scene after the first 2 knockdowns. Trying to get a perspective from a little outside the corner. Algieri had a good second round. Ruslan Provodnikov dropped him twice in the opening round. Algieri trying to box, and Provodnikov trying to load up a big shot, like that left hook.
Well, Algieri should not go straight back, because that left hook is the money punch for Provodnikov. And it appears that it's only finding its mark when Algieri goes straight back.
Provodnikov trying to stalk, get on the inside here. Algieri trying to muscle him off. Slick little uppercut on the inside by Algieri. Good left hook by Provodnikov. He is just aching to throw that shot. He almost leaped out of his shoes to get that off.
And Algieri, again, when he punches, bend the knees and spin off. Don't go straight back.
How can he try to use Provodnikov's aggression against him?
Well, bend your knees. Again, throw stiff, straight punches. Just like that, stiff, straight punches. You know Provodnikov is gonna come. You don't have to throw left hooks, just straight textbook punches.
Provodnikov trying to bob and weave here, get close to his target.
Chop, chop!
And just like that, when he's close, when he punch, when he's slipping out, bend your knees. And Provodnikov needs to stop headhunting and try to dig the body to slow up Algieri. Right now, everything is to the head for Provodnikov.
He fell in love with that left hook in the opening round. Here's the right hand. And the human nature of it as he gets nailed with the right hand.
Jerry's not fighting bad.
Provodnikov has to go back to setting up that left hook.
All right, let's take a look. No body shots by Provodnikov.
And Algieri landing a couple of good shots on the outside in round 3.
Keep it clean. All right, let's go. Time! Deep breath.
Spit this.
Fours and fives. The fours and fives are there for all fucking day, guys. But you need to stay lower on your punch. You aim at his goddamn neck. If you're throwing them, you're aiming at his neck, not up top. Back up again. Every combination will go to damn neck. Nice combination. Quick.
Комбинация надо быстрее. Не цель один удар. Надо его
Seconds out!
и головой двигай.
Seconds out! Seconds out! Seconds out! Time!
As we start round 4,
Time. Over here.
Ruslan Provodnikov and Chris Algieri, they're going to take another look
Okay.
And his eye.
and they're going to let it go. And this is the point of the fight that you thought could be the difficult area for Algieri. But did the knockdown in round 1 change any of that philosophy as far as his timing?
Well, no, I said 3-4 rounds he was going to box well, and then it was going to get a little rough for him. Surprisingly, I have it 2 rounds of 1 for Algieri, but I have him down 1 point because it's 10-7 for the first round.
And interestingly, Provodnikov has landed the bigger shots, and they are telltale. Algieri has actually outlanded him 65-46 through 3 rounds. Now the heavy shots and the ones that the judges like to see have belonged to Provodnikov, but the numbers at least illustrate that Algieri has settled himself a little bit.
Yeah, he's actually doing well. Again, I thought he would do well 3-4 rounds. Then I figured around the 5th round it would start getting rough. So let's see. He's doing well though. He's throwing nice combinations and he's slipping out. So he's not allowing Provodnikov to pin him against the ropes and pound away.
Provodnikov trying to open up. But he has to pay a price to get inside if Algieri can keep that jab out there.
Well, Jerry just hasn't really thrown a stiff jab.
It's a pouring jab here by Algieri. He doesn't want to be cornered here.
Nice body shot by Algieri. Provodnikov is cutting the ring off. He's stalking, but he's just not really doing what needs to be done. He's cutting the ring off, which is half the battle. Then he's headhunting. He's allowing Algieri to slip those headshots and get out of there. No body work by Provodnikov.
Slips the jab and tries to get
That's
inside
a right
again.
hand to the body.
And Provodnikov will have to do the gritty, dirty work on the inside, the body shots. Not an easy adjustment to make after you nearly won the fight with some big headshots in the first round.
Nice left hook to the body. And just missed it to the hook to the head. Provodnikov, that is.
Well, another good round for Algieri in terms of outlanding Provodnikov by a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's able to nullify the aggression of Provodnikov.
step over to the right, he'll let you hit him. Listen, creep over on him and tap over. Listen, you hear me, Chris? When you go in, he'll look for you that way. When he looks for you, hit
You
him.
see that eye is swelling, it's puffy. But I do think that they will allow him to continue because he's fighting well. He's not getting battered. If he's getting battered, I think they'll look to stop the fight much quicker. But right now, I think he's okay.
What do you think of what they're applying there to get that swelling down?
Don't agree with no in-swell. Different methods, different people, but I think in-swell works the best.
Yeah. Into round 5 we go with Ruslan Provodnikov, who authored 2 first-round knockdowns.
That's the only thing he's offered so far.
Chris Algieri has turned the tide on him. So what we end up with is a couple interesting things. We have probably what amounts to an even fight, but there's that nasty swelling under the eye of Chris Algieri.
Well, I have it scored 37-37. I gave the first round to Provodnikov and the next 3 to Algieri.
10-7 round for Provodnikov.
Correct.
And then evened up by Algieri here.
Now Algieri's starting to stand straight up again. The last couple rounds, he did a good job with bending his legs and slipping out. He cannot get careless or sloppy defensively.
And Provodnikov continues to stalk and has to try to get inside the jab.
And this may be a little crazy to say, but if I was Algieri, occasionally I would allow the left hook or Provodnikov to get, not land solid, but, you know, land.
And
because,
for what reason?
Because then you're going to keep him headhunting. You're going to keep him looking for that one shot. He's never going to get into a rhythm to throw combinations if he thinks he could be successful with one shot.
He's got to take a calculated risk there. Let him get off, but not too close to you.
Right.
You're seeing a boxing equivalent of what happens in a lot of sports. You get a guy in trouble, first round, you're on the verge of finishing it, but if he gets off the hook, you have a different fight.
Especially if the guy does not wither under the pressure. And Algieri certainly has not.
And you do get the sense that Provodnikov is going to have another big moment in this fight at some point.
And Provodnikov should start throwing more right hands. Force Algieri to move to his right, away from the right hand, into the blind side, because his left eye, I'm sorry, his right eye was messed up.
Right hand just missed from Provodnikov.
So throw right hands, force him into your left hook with your Provodnikov.
And there is a good left hook, but the bell comes in time for Algieri.
And I must note that the ring is 18 feet inside, which is the smallest minimum size, according to New York State, that we can have here.
That's good negotiation for Provodnikov.
But he hasn't really done a good job with it. He hasn't been cutting the ring off, but he's headhunting. He's throwing 1 or 2 shots. He's headhunting. But the last round, Algieri had an excellent round. He boxed, he was very effective, but at the end of the round, he got sloppy, careless, and got hit with a big left hook.
Fortunately for Algieri, it was right before the bell, so it was an isolated shot. Into round 6 we go. The left hook, still the money punch for Ruslan Provodnikov. He tries to cash in against Chris Algieri, who's staying outside, boxing smartly. The jab from Algieri. And Algieri off a quick break, landing a left hook to the body. Now what about Provodnikov? If you're in his corner after the early success and he's only been landing the one big shot, how would you coach him?
I'm sure Freddie's going crazy, but I would tell him, listen, the left hook is only going to work if you set it up. You have to start at the body and finish with the head. Don't just walk in there. Throw a jab to get inside. And when you get inside, work the body and head. Right now, watch Provodnikov. He's just walking in, looking to throw a left hook. Just walking. And meanwhile, Algieri is getting the rhythm, and he's using that aggression. He steps in, he steps around, and he's throwing punches.
Is Provodnikov, in your view, still stylistically affected by the outburst he enjoyed in round one?
No, absolutely. I think it's showing. We've seen him in the past. He's a volume puncher, and he stays on top of guys. In a small ring, he has allowed Algieri to use the entire ring.
Provodnikov cuts it off here. But the drama here is that you still sense
at any minute
that Provodnikov's going to get in on him again. And that Algieri will have to cross another barrier. But all that being said, Algieri's the number 13 contender. He's fighting very well here against the champion. Provodnikov.
And you know what? And that's why I don't argue with people when they start yelling how the alphabet soup's not important. Alphabets are very important in sanctioning body. Because would Algieri get this performance if he wasn't ranked in one of the sanctioning bodies? No. So the sanctioning bodies is important for the boxers.
Yeah, and by sneaking in off, he beat the number 4 guy to get in here. They rank him number 13. And yet now he has an opportunity. And you like to see it work like that because he fought his way. He beat a ranked guy to get in.
The eye is getting bad. But again, I don't think he's in danger because he's not taking huge punishment.
Okay, now give me the left, a nice tap, a nice short tap off that creep into the right, okay?
You need to stay low on your hooks, Chris. You need to dip out off of that. Stay low. He's looking just to unload his left. When you're throwing yours, stay low, right hand high. Use both hands.
All good, baby.
Okay?
All good, baby.
How's the nose?
Chris, I need you to use both hands. You gotta stop throwing one punch at a time, Chris.
Chris, the creep is beautiful.
Come here.
Check it out.
Second half of the fight. These guys look like they've been in a war, and they have. Ruslan Provodnikov and Chris Algieri. Dave Bontempo and Brian Adams with you at the Barclay Center in Brooklyn. Algieri has a lead in punches landed, 158-101. Provodnikov has decked him twice. He did it in round one. Algieri has fought smartly since then, but also battling time with that nasty swelling under his right eye. All kinds of drama here.
And one thing I haven't really mentioned or complimented Algieri on is his legs. His legs have really stood up. He's been very mobile. It shows he trained hard for this fight.
And he's been able to dart out of trouble and keep Provodnikov lunging with that left hook.
And now I'm starting to see confidence in Algieri. Because now he's starting to stay in the pocket a second longer than he was, say, 3-4 rounds ago.
You mentioned the size of the ring, which is always in a negotiation. And for Provodnikov, it's an advantage because of his stalking style. Works for him. Could you imagine what Algieri would be doing in a bigger ring with him?
Right.
But with this size ring, turns into a real fans fight here. Right hand by Provodnikov.
Which we haven't seen much right hands from him. They're mostly left hooks, like that.
Body shot by Algieri. Now Algieri out there, if he keeps that jab going, Provodnikov has to work twice as hard. Left hook by both. Good right hand by Provodnikov.
But for the most part, Algieri has beat him to the punch. I mean, this is a better round for Provodnikov because he has closed the gap and he's let his hands go.
Presses the pace here. This is over the top. Round 7 goes into the books.
What you doing when you spinning them? Hit him right off that motherfucking spin. It's beautiful. What you just did was beautiful.
That round you use both hands, baby. You gotta continue to use both hands, okay?
You look up at me. It's all good, baby. All good, baby.
Okay. You need to
Deep breath.
use both
Get some
hands.
grease on, George.
Right? When you're throwing it, if you look, every time you go right to the body, he's looking to come over the top.
Put
Come
that
with the
inside on top.
short.
Try his forehead, just the forehead, so it doesn't run his eyes.
Check it out! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
We head into round 8. An intriguing battle and a real good one here between Chris Algieri and Ruslan Provodnikov, the WBO 140-pound championship.
I hate being wrong, but I'm wrong tonight. I thought Provodnikov would take over by the 5th round. At the end of the 7th round, I have a score of 65-66 in favor of Chris Algieri.
Well, sometimes I think that if you look at something and you think you were wrong about it, it adds more of a accomplishment to the boxers.
Yes.
It accentuates what they did, what Algieri's been able to do. A lot of people thought that this was a showcase for Provodnikov against the local guy who had fans, but that it was going to be Provodnikov's night. And the first round played right into that. And then Algieri has shown a ton of resilience.
Yeah, he didn't get the memo, I guess.
Here comes Provodnikov trying to duck the jab. Misses with the hook. The foot speed of Algieri has been a problem for him.
Yeah, Algieri has kept him off balance with his movement. And Provodnikov just have not thought about working the body to slow him down.
Now, if you're a little smaller like Provodnikov is, you want to bob and weave, you want to get inside, you want to make yourself a smaller target. But it's that harder now as he's tired to actually do the work to bend down and bob and weave and make yourself smaller.
Now it appears that the pressure is getting to Algieri. Maybe he's trying to take a breather, waiting for a second wind to kick in.
Good left hook here by Provodnikov.
Keep it in front. Right. Keep it in front. Keep those punches in front.
And here's Provodnikov has stalked like many other rounds, but gotten a little less resistance this round than some others. Good left hook by Provodnikov. It's a jab and a right hand home. So in this round, for the first time in a while, Ruslan Provodnikov found a groove.
Yes, it was the dominant one.
Beautiful work. Beautiful work.
Again, baby, you gotta stay low on those hooks. Stay low on the hooks. Going that eyeball scene over here, my friend.
Look at me.
All good, baby.
Look up there.
All good.
On my way, Chris. All right, I got it.
All good. Okay, so Chris, listen.
Well, Provodnikov came out trying to attack, push the issue, steps in for a big left hook, but you see the watermark there
Seconds out.
on the corner, in the blue corner. Very heavy water. Provodnikov slipped,
Let's go, Blue, let's go.
broke the action for a second.
Dangerous, you can get injured in a situation like that. So we move into ninth round. Ruslan Provodnikov and Chris Algieri. Locked up in a very nice battle. Good left hook by Provodnikov. Double jab by Algieri. Good left hook by Algieri. Good jab by Provodnikov.
And now Provodnikov is starting to move Algieri. And you can sense when, or you can tell when someone is being moved because their movement is not fluent. Early rounds, Algieri movement was very fluent. Now he looks uncomfortable moving backwards.
Provodnikov is cutting off the distance easily. The question is if he's going to throw when that happens. It's all right in front of him here. All he's worked for has been threatened by the good work of Algieri. Right hand by Provodnikov. Gets it in again. He's able to punch at closer range the last round and a half.
Stop.
And Algieri should keep that right hand flying. Every time he throws the right hand, he lands. And of course, don't neglect the body. Touch Provodnikov's body every time he gets close.
Good right hand by Provodnikov. Provodnikov fighting with renewed zeal in the 8th and 9th rounds. Good left hook. He's trying to counter more
Yes,
behind Algieri.
but he still opt to headhunt and not touch the body of Algieri.
Provodnikov lands one, misses two.
Time.
Джебом его ставь на канат и поднимай, потом правый в корпус, левый в голову. Комбинации. Джеб хорошо работает. Быстрый джеб используй. Шагом прямо вперед джеб.
Action in the last round. Algieri lands a nice short left hook and overhand right. But for the most part, it was Provodnikov who pushed the action and forced the fight.
So it sets up an interesting situation. Algieri has landed 70 more punches, but you get the sense that the better punches over the last couple rounds, plus that already knockdown sequence, puts Provodnikov in a good position. So here we are in round 10. And you heard from Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach trying to urge Provodnikov on. He's had everybody from Oscar De La Hoya to Virgil Hill, Peter Kid Chocolate Quillen, right here in New York. Champion, Manny Pacquiao, Mike Tyson, Guillermo Rigondeaux. In a close fight, who better to have giving you instructions than Freddie Roach?
The mind. That last round, I thought Provodnikov took the lead. I have a score 85-84 in his favor. I gave him the last 2 rounds. Actually, the last 3 rounds I gave him.
Real interesting. Good body work by Provodnikov.
Well, Algieri has fared well. If Algieri can get back to fluent movement, straight punches, he'll do well.
Well, Provodnikov is not following Algieri's script anymore like he was in the middle rounds. When Algieri fires a punch out now, Provodnikov is getting closer and firing and then getting closer right away.
Right.
Algieri up in boxing. Hitting air these last 3 shots. And the tie-up. And it's a mess now that Eye has gotten much worse in that last exchange.
Yeah, the Eye has progressed the past few rounds.
Algieri not able to see well out of that right eye. And that means, what's the punch he can't see? The left hook.
Which is why he's moving to his left into Provodnikov's right hand. Provodnikov needs to throw right hands and force him towards his left hook, which is his money point.
Round 10 becomes history.
Okay, it's way too close. We need a knockout here. Let's put the pressure on him.
Нужен нокаут.
Alright.
Близко сильно бой. Ты должен давить его.
Come on. Now, he's bobbing and weaving low. The uppercut's gonna work, but you go with the uppercut and the hook.
Он близко до уходит, а ты в ход боковой бей.
Combinations, baby.
And hit him and get delivered. Every time, yo. Every time on him.
Just
and
stay
then go back
low on your hooks. First dip out. Stay low. Chin down on your hooks, buddy. Keep letting those goddamn right hands go. Jab in, follow up. Combinations. Both hands.
Chris Algieri has made it complicated for that man, Ruslan Provodnikov, as we start round 11.
And Freddie Roach told Provodnikov, it's too close, we need a knockout.
That's way too close, he said.
And Algieri's corner said, keep throwing that straight right hand.
Now they knew that Algieri was coming off a nice win, but you've got a sense that Provodnikov's camp Got more than they thought they were going to get from this number 13 contender.
Chris Algieri gave me more than I thought. Again, not to say he wouldn't have had his moments. I just thought Provodnikov would be too much for him tonight.
Especially the way this fight started. 2 knockdowns in the opening round by Provodnikov. And Algieri gets hit again with a hook and the blood spurts out, stands up. One heck of a warrior here to take these shots and to try and stay with the game plan, which is to jab, tie up and get out of harm's way. Provodnikov fighting to be a difference maker right now.
Well, Provodnikov understands what Freddie Roach is telling him, but I think he needs to do a little more in terms of working the body and then coming up to the head.
Regardless of how this turns out, this is why some fighters will only go after other champions and big money fights. And these optional title defenses, you know, many times they're just as risky as a huge fight.
Listen, every fight can be your last.
Good hook here by Provodnikov. Algieri stays on the outside. He's landed more punches, but Provodnikov has landed the better punches. How will that play out on the scorecards? Well, it is an ugly mess, the face of Algieri, but if he can get through one more round, he made it.
We'll find out coming up.
Nice deep breath. Beautiful boxing. Beautiful, baby. That's how you do your hands, baby.
You gotta keep doing that, baby. Both hands, Chris. Both hands.
Chris, look right at me. Look right at me.
Both hands, buddy.
Ты знаешь, что он ниже ходит под боковой.
Don't go there because hard.
Сильный апперкот снизу, правый.
Right. The last round,
Это
okay?
последний раунд.
Nothing to the end, okay? Go all the way.
Все
Go all the
отдавай,
way.
Руслан. Они могут не отдать, тут близко. Глубоко дыши.
Final round coming up. Ruslan Provodnikov, Chris Algieri. Final round of their 140-pound championship fight. Dave Bontempo and Brian Adams with you. Brian, you got it up in the air for this 12th round here. A lead for Provodnikov. Where are you right now?
I have it 104 to 103 in favor of Provodnikov. So this round is crucial because any one of those early rounds could have went the other way. And this score can be in favor of Algieri right now.
A huge opening round for Provodnikov. A brilliant, dazzling boxing display by Algieri followed that. Provodnikov has been muscling him in the last couple rounds. When the fight ends, Algieri will have landed more punches. Provodnikov's punches are the better ones. You've got variables on both sides as far as how this could come out.
Yes, but I think at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. Chris Algieri made a mark tonight. His stock rose, and people's going to pay attention to him now.
Yeah, not a lot was expected from him
Because of the
Provodnikov being the prohibitive favorite coming in here.
Well, part of it is the stereotype. Here's a kid in college who has a lot going for him, who has more than just boxing, so he can't be good. That's just a stereotype.
The brainy generalization.
Right. You know, when I was boxing, I had my college degree, and people said I didn't want it because I didn't have to do it. Well, guess what? I was in there every day in the gym training and fighting. I wanted to do it just like the guy who had no job.
The guy that with the college education feels like he's fighting on the road all the time, always at a disadvantage.
Right.
And there's the idea that sometimes the college guys are too kind-hearted. But regardless, Algieri he's had a mean streak in him here tonight. A good, smart boxing ability. Stayed on his feet. And look, this is not his ring either. A normal-sized ring. He would have been far better off. So the size of the ring has worked for Provodnikov. We've had an excellent fight here.
Because Algieri is certainly winning this round. 20 seconds remaining. Barring any knockdown, I think he passed this last round with flying colors.
It's going to be very interesting on the cards. Freddie Roach expressing concern in Algieri's corner. They think he's got it. His brother, who looked disconsolate early, looking much more comfortable later. We're going to put all that into the pot and see how it comes out. If it was a draw, Provodnikov keeps his title.
And that's exactly how I had it. I had a 113, 113. But I think the bigger picture, Chris Algieri won this, everything, this event tonight.
What a year it's been for him. And he was, before he fought Emmanuel Taylor, very few people outside this area knew who he was. He gets into the rankings and then gives a very credible performance in a championship fight in the first 6 months of the year. And he survives that. Look at what goes on underneath that eye. He managed to keep that in check throughout the fight. Freddie Roach embracing Ruslan Provodnikov. His only losses have been to Mauricio Herrera, who gave an excellent accounting of himself earlier this year against Danny Garcia. And Timothy Bradley, which was the fight of the year in 2013. And should Provodnikov not get it, he will look back in frustration over having had 2 knockdowns in the first round. But Algieri getting off the hook. Now when the guys carry their fighters around, they're generally worried. They're hoping that the judges will put it over the top for them. Provodnikov, who has a lot of fans here, but also gets booed because this is Algieri's stomping ground.
And generally speaking, 3 minutes after the bell, they have the scores in. Maybe they got a recount.
Well, we used to joke about they had to get that eraser out. Provodnikov would keep his title with a draw. Now the concern back on the brother's face. We've seen
Brother Mike, who's NYPD.
He's had a roller coaster night.
And even then, they were few and far between. And he was swinging
Algieri
wide,
showed a lot of
catching
toughness.
me in the end of the punches. And to tell you the truth,
Again, I
the
scored
only
it a
shot that
draw,
really
but
hurt me was the first
rounds
one. And it was more my eye. Right.
5 and 6 could have went either way. I gave it to Algieri.
I felt the swelling, my lip went numb, and I was like, uh-oh. So I had to kind of gather myself, figure out what's going on.
The power of
Then
Provodnikov
got back up and
has to be tabulated
then
in
by
here.
I guess it was the 8th.
Here we go.
Here at Barclay Center, Brooklyn, New York, we go to the scorecard. Max DeLuca has it 117-109 for Provodnikov. Tom Schreck scores it 114-112 for Algieri. Don Trella scores it. Same score, 114-112 to the winner by split decision. And new undefeated WBO lightweight champion of the world, the Fighting Collegian, Chris Algieri.
Pandemonium and bedlam. And if he did need that last round to do it, Brian, what a huge win of a round that is in his life.
Well, congratulations to him first and foremost. I think him being able to stand his ground after he got knocked down and stick to his game plan, box effectively. And they talk about the professional ranks and aggression and this and that. He wasn't being effective with his aggression, Provodnikov. A lot of those rounds, Chris Algieri was clearly outboxing him.
And yet with all that, had Provodnikov gotten one more point, won one more round, he walks out here with the draw and keeps his title.
I actually scored it a draw, but
yeah, you were right there with two of the judges. And 117-109 Provodnikov is a...
I mean, listen, he fouled his scorecard in and he went to the bathroom or something. 117. You gave Chris Algieri 3 rounds?
Not possible. And then... but what a story here. And Max Kellerman will have post-fight interview for us.
What did you just ask me?
Can I answer some of your questions, Max?
And then some. Congratulations on a sensational performance and an improbable win after that first round. You're on the deck, your eye is closing. What's going through your mind when moments into the fight, you're knocked down?
You know, Max, this has been a surreal week for me. Me and my trainer almost got into a car accident earlier in the week. Someone actually drove us off the road. And it was funny, my heart rate didn't even go up. I felt like that walking in here today and at that moment when I was on the deck. My heart rate didn't even go up.
You look like you got into a car wreck, but you got off the deck to box extremely well. Did you think you were winning the fight?
Yeah, I did. Even the shots I was getting hit with in the first, 4 rounds, they were few and far between. They were big, but they were lunging shots. He caught me on the end of the punches. Really, the only shot that hurt me was that first shot.
How were you able to do what you did with one eye for most of the fight?
I could actually see pretty well out of the eye until about round 8. And then round 12, I was fucking blind. Excuse me. I was blind in the 12th.
And yet you were able to avoid a lot of those hooks that he seemed to try to bring up from nowhere so you couldn't see them. How'd you do that?
I kind of anticipated them. I saw him coming forward, and, I knew the eye looked, probably, I haven't seen it, I'm seeing it right now. I know it probably looked pretty bad to Ruslan. It probably looked like a nice juicy steak for him. So I saw in his eyes when he was ready to throw that left hook, so I was able to evade.
Okay, working class kid, lives with his family on Long Island, no amateur background, fights Ruslan Provodnikov, gets off the deck twice in the first round with your eye like this and goes on to win. What did you just show the boxing world?
I showed the boxing world who Chris Algieri is.
And what does he have planned? What do you want going forward?
It's funny, I have not thought past this day or this moment for months. I don't even know what, June 15th even it looks like. So I guess I'll get some rest, ice my eye, and see what's up.
How does that feel, by the way, before we get to Ruslan, with that strap around your shoulder here in Brooklyn, close enough to your hometown? Can't get much closer, smiling on HBO.
As heavy as this damn thing is, can't even feel it.
Thanks, and thanks for a spectacular showing. Ruslan, you started extremely well. What happened after that?
Ну, просто, видать, зарядился на удар уже. Алжири просто приспособился. Не мой конек, бегунки не мой конек, я уже сказал, просто не смог приспособиться. Это тяжело было. Все-таки я люблю бойцов, которые рубятся. Он же, видите, просто тыкал, бегал. И, в принципе, мне казалось, что я вел. Ну, получилось так, как получилось. Он выиграл, надо это признать, поэтому я ему пожал руку.
I felt like after the knockdown, I was trying to really land a big punch. I have to admit, runners are not my style. He's just jabbing and touching me. I can't feel any of that, but it's not my style. I like guys that stand there and fight me. This is the worst style for me, and I thought I was close in the fight, but it happened the way it happened.
So are you saying that given that reality, that guys who move and box can give you problems, you would rather not fight them and instead fight fighters who are more to your liking, more kind of come-forward fighters with whom you can make big action fights?
То есть ты говоришь, что, может быть, тебе лучше встречаться не с такими бегунами, а с такими, которые готовы с тобой драться, и с ними будет получаться более зрелищно.
Я уже сразу говорил, что это не мой конек, да, то есть мне больше нравятся боксеры, с которыми можно драться. Ну, вы видели, он весь бой отбегал, оттыкал просто. Так что, ну что ему надо сказать? Молодец.
I said it before, it's just not my style. He just ran and just touched me. He just jabbed me and touched me. I didn't feel any of that, but obviously I have trouble with that style. I like you said, I like guys that are in front of me and fighting me.
He did a good job. Самое главное, я сделал зрелищный бой, все получили удовольствие, никто не скучал, это самое главное. Я пообещал, я сделал, а это уже, работа судей.
The most important is, I think, as I promised, I gave a very exciting fight, and I think the fans were not sleeping in the seats, and I did what I promised. The title and everything, that's, the judges made their decision, it's up to them.
Thank you, Ruslan.
Okay, so that was Max Kellerman from the American Network HBO. I'm Dave Bontempo along with Brian Adams, and we have seen a title change hands tonight. And your thoughts on the evening and where these guys go now?
On the evening, I think Demetrius Andre performed well. He stole the show tonight in terms of being explosive. I think Chris Algieri made it. He's here. He made it. I don't like the comments that Ruslan made at the end. I don't like the fight runners. Well, this is boxing. He was boxing. He wasn't running. Running is where you just get on your bike and you just go without throwing punches. He was boxing. He was giving angles. So you are not giving your opponent credit for coming in and performing.
And he had the ring where he wanted anyway. He had a small ring already into the negotiations. So it will be interesting to see where these guys go from here. All right, so for Brian Adams, and producer Frank Belmont, and all of our fine crew, thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Bontempo, and we will see you next time.